Good morning. Can us know who is before us this morning?
Your chairman is Reverend Simon Kiuta Lonyayo.
Can us have your original ID to confirm that the person you are alleged to be is the said Simon Kiuta?
Okay.
Give it to your sergeant at arms.
Okay, thank you.
We do confirm that you are the said Reverend Simon Kiuta, and as such, this is a sitting of the county assembly, and any person who appears before this assembly has to take an oath to enable us to have a discussion with you, or any discussion with you. At this point, I would like to request the clerk to guide the nominee in taking of the oath. You may take an oath or you can affirm.
I, Simon Kiuta Lonyayo, do swear that the information that I will give to this committee is the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Honorable members, the clerk has confirmed to me that the nominee has taken an oath and is now proper before this committee. And allow me to introduce to you that the nominee before us this morning is Simon Kiuta Lonyayo, and is the nominee for position of CEC Education, Sports, Culture, and Social Services. Reverend Kiuta, you will have 60 minutes with this committee. It will be an interactive session where these members will ask you questions, and we expect you to be candid and brief and precise to the point, so do not pass manage time. A brief introduction of this committee. This committee of appointment draws its mandate from the Constitution, and the enabling statute is Section 7 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies and Approvals Act number 5 of 2017, and Baringo Assembly Standing Order number 190, which mandates this committee to test the suitability for any nominee for the position of CEC. This committee is chaired by myself as the speaker, and it has the number of members you can see with us here. I'll invite each of these members to do a self-introduction, then we'll go to the next stage. Let me start from my immediate left.
My name is Max Yalo, MCA Mogotio Ward.
Good morning. I'm Daniel Tweet, Loreria, MCA Ripco Ward, and Minority Leader.
Morning. My name is Ernest Kibet, member to this committee, MCA KABARNET.
My name is Aib Kibet, MCA Ewalel Chapchap, a member of the committee. Thank you.
My name is Chen Jerob, nominated MCA, Baringo County, member of this committee.
Good morning, Reverend Kiuta. My name is Lawi Kipchumba Talam, MCA Lembusquin, the majority leader of Baringo County Assembly, and also a member to this committee. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I am Lokorio Josephat, MCA Barweza, Deputy Majority Leader and a member of the committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Venaline Jerob, nominated MCA, Baringo County, and a member of this committee.
Allow me also to inform you that Honorable Kipruto Kimosop, who is also our Deputy Speaker, is a member of this committee. He is not with us now because he's in the County Assembly transacting other businesses, but he will be joining us as we proceed. We also have one of our members, Shedrach Mailuk, who is also in the County Assembly transacting other businesses, but he will join us in a short while. At this moment, let me invite the clerk to do introduction for herself and the members of staff present.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Winnie Chemasa, the clerk, County Assembly of Baringo. I wish to introduce the technocrats, the staff. From the far left, we have the Deputy Clerk, James Warata, Zipporah Koroti, Hansard Editor, Madam Betty Toroitich, Head of Legal, Lulu Chochoi, Head of Human Resource, Tekeiwa Henry, Head of Research, Emma Kemei, Head of ICT. We have Lokorio, the Sergeant at Arms. We have Tuikong, Head of Communication. On the far right, we have Sharon Serem, Hansard Reporter. Then we have Hilda Kiprono, the Head of Administration. Thank you.
Reverend, you have heard, I now know that you know all of us here. When we invited you for this interview, or for this vetting process, we requested you for original documents, to carry some original documents. Can let's have your original documents and offer to the Sergeant at Arms. The state documents will be handed over to you after this vetting by the same Sergeant at Arms. Reverend Kiuta, do you have a valid KRA tax compliance?
Yes, Chairman, I do. It is within the folder.
Do you have a valid higher education loans board clearance?
Yes, Chairman, I do.
Do you have a valid Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission clearance?
Yes, Chairman, I do.
Do you have a valid certificate of good conduct?
Yes, Chairman, I do.
Do you have a clearance from the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission?
Not really, Chairman.
Okay. Do you have a valid clearance certificate from Credit Reference Bureau?
Yes, Chairman, I do.
The clerk will confirm the said documents, and in case there are any clarifications, we shall request you for clarifications, if any. Reverend Kiuta, have you been charged and convicted in a court of law?
No, Chairman, I haven't.
Are you a dual citizen?
No, I'm only a Kenyan citizen.
Let me take you through your curriculum vitae and the form you signed when you took a questionnaire, and we told you to fill the same. I can say the same is duly filled, and as such, so that we don't take much more time, can you briefly tell us about yourself in about 2 or 3 minutes?
Thank you, Chairman. As you've already know, I'm Reverend Simon Kiuta from Churo, that is in Churo Amaya Ward. That is where I was born in 1964 and raised there. Growing up as a little boy, my main responsibility was to take care of livestock, beginning with goats, then cows. And later on, I was privileged to send myself to school because nobody sent me. And I went through primary school at Churo Primary School. After that, I joined Marigat Secondary School. Later on, went on for my A-level at KABARNET Secondary School. And after that, I was privileged to have a call from God. I had so many other options then. But because of my background, I come from a very humble background. And the Lord just saw me through school in a very miraculous way, all the way from Form 1 to Form 6. So after finishing A-level, I thought to myself, what can I give in return to what the Lord has done? So I decided to train as a full-time minister of the gospel. And I went to Scott Theological College, currently Scott Christian University, where I pursued a bachelor's degree in theology for 4 years, finishing in March 1993, and went back home to Churo, where I served at Churo High School, a school we founded through the partnership with missionaries. And there I served as a teacher, come chaplain, and also served in the church in various capacities. And that is the time I got married to my lovely wife, Grace, and God has blessed us with 5 children. And so after that again, Chairman, in 2002, I had the opportunity of getting recruited to be a chaplain at Moi High School, Kabarak, where I served for almost 5 years. And then afterwards, I went to the university as a lecturer, where I've been lecturing for more than 10 years, up to 2019 September. And alongside that, Chairman, I'm one clergyman who is so privileged that the government has considered me severally for being appointed a director. I was appointed as a director with Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. From 2009, I served for 3 years, 1 term, and then also renewed. So I was in KBC for 6 years, where I served in various committees of the board. And later on, Chairman, I was also privileged to be appointed a director with the Postal Corporation of Kenya, where I served for 1 year. And then I tried my hand in politics, vied for Tiati parliamentary seat in 2017, although I did not make it. And recently, Chairman, to 2019, I was appointed as a director with Water Resources Authority, where I served until February 2022. And Chairman, that is much I may want to say. I know, of course, I have a long history, and all of it is contained within my curriculum vitae. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend, for the impressive CV. Are you a member of any professional body?
Not, Chairman.
When you introduce yourself, or during the self-introduction, you said you went to Marikat High School, Marikat Secondary, and KABARNET High School.
No. Sorry, Chairman, if I did say that, that's not the case.
You said you went to Marikat
Secondary School.
Marikat Secondary School and KABARNET High School.
No, later on. I went to KABARNET High School for my A level.
However, you did not tell us the grades you attained at KABARNET High School and at Marikat.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Chairman, at Marigat Secondary School, I attained Division 2 grade. And at KABARNET High School for my A level, I had 2 principals and 1 subsidiary. And they are all contained within my certificates there.
I've also been following keenly I've gone through your curriculum vitae, and I know that one thing, that you have served in various boards. However, I have not seen a place where you have indicated where you have been involved in any administration or management of any institution.
Oh. Chairman, I was only afraid that the 2 minutes may not be sufficient. I have a lot of it there. I have been involved in administration in a number of institutions, one being Churo Secondary School, where I served as a chairman of the board. And I was also given the privilege of serving as one of the board members at Pemwai Girls High School.
Reverend,
yes.
Let me cut you short. When I talk about as a board member, you're oversighting the managers.
Yes.
I'm asking in a situation where you're in charge of the day-to-day running of an institution. Remember, this time around you're appointed as CEC, and as CEC, somebody will be in charge of the running, day-to-day running, together with the CEO. So I'm asking you, for the last, I see you completed your high school in 1993. For the last 29 years, have you been in an institution where you have been in charge of the management? Or have you run an organization for those 29 years where you're the person in charge?
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you, Chairman. I have been serving in various capacities within the church setup. I have been the chairman of my local church, chairman of the district church council, and also vice chairman of Baringo Regional Church Council. And even as we speak, although I serve as an associate pastor, but also in charge of a church at near Kabarak, AIC Rafiki. So in as far as church ministries are concerned, I've been providing managerial leadership in a number of capacities.
Let me narrow down to 2 issues. The first one, when you talk about managing, you have been in charge of regional church council, you have been in charge of local church council. How many employees have been directly under you? And secondly, the portfolio. What the accountants call, how much have you been in charge of? Like, what's your budget? The budget that you have been controlling in that institution, in those institutions.
Thank you, Chairman. You really have to appreciate that in as far as the church setup is concerned, you may not talk so much of a big budget. other than in the boards that I have been providing oversight leadership. Those are the ones you can actually talk of huge budgets. And I do believe, Mr. Chairman, that despite the fact that a person serves or provides oversight leadership, there is really a very thin line between oversight leadership and also the actual managerial leadership, because in one way or another, there is a similar synergy that is provided.
Thank you, Reverend. My next question, you have served as the board member of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and Postal Corporation of Kenya. Can you tell us your greatest achievement in the two boards? Just one. You can pick either Postal Corporation or Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Like your greatest achievement that when you sit down today, you'll say, it's through the efforts of Reverend Kiuta that we have this in Postal Corporation or in Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me pick Postal Corporation. Although I only served for one year before I resigned to get into politics. But one greatest achievement that I recall, and even the employees that are still there still remember, is that I was assigned to be the chair of a human resource committee. And while there were so many challenges that really contributed to the demoralization of the human resource within Postal Corporation. And with the help of God and with the support of the entirety of the board, we actually had a turnaround through my leadership, whereby we considered coming up with incentives that will encourage and will motivate the employees. And also, a number of employees from marginalized communities and minority communities within Postal Corporation then were not really given they were not given promotions, especially to senior positions. And one of the things I did with the help of the board is that we did streamline the management of Postal Corporation, whereby we saw a number of minority groups, some from the coast, Maasai land, Samburu, being promoted. And there was such a change of heart even among the employees, to the extent, Chairman, that after that 1 year.
So, Reverend, let me cut you short. We can say, while you are at Postal Corporation of Kenya, you ensure that the minorities were recognized.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my final question, so that I give to members to ask you questions. Let's go to your questionnaire. And specifically, you talked about your net worth. If you can, how much are you worth?
What I feel in the questionnaire, Chairman, is exactly what I'm worth of. 31,800,000. You mentioned some assets in Kabarak. Yes.
If you can explain to members, especially I'm only interested in that particular one.
Yes, Chairman. I have 2 assets in terms of land. Those are immovable assets. 1 acre, which if you sell it today, the price is 8 million. And also 5 acres closer to that place, at a place called Olrongai, still 6 kilometers away from the main road, worth 4 million each acre. That is 20 million. And I have a car, a very old car, which can cost 800,000. And back home, I have a big farm, but the value is very low. 50 acres, and probably 50,000 per acre. So I'm worth that much, Chairman.
Thank you, Reverend. So, but you have documentation to prove these ones?
I have not brought with me, but I do have them. Yes.
You. Yes. I was consulting with Mr. Honorable Kipruto Kimosop. He was in the assembly we had a session in the morning, and he had to start it. We had to send him there. Okay. So he may ask you one question or two at this moment.
Yes, Reverend Kiota.
Yes.
I know I'm not completely new to you.
No.
We have met before in this public live, and I will pick it up from where the speaker has left. And maybe at a personal level, what makes you really think you are suitable for this position?
Chairman, I strongly believe that I'm suitable for this particular position, simply because you look through my CV. I am not a trained teacher, yes, but I have been an educationist all through my life. I have passion for education, and I believe, as Mandela said, that education is a game changer. And from where I come from, I am known. History has it that I was very instrumental in starting not only churches, but also nursery schools within the churches. And those have become now primary schools. And also I was very instrumental in founding Churo Boys High School, Churo Girls High School. And I did have the opportunity to work with the TAC as a trained teacher after my A-level. And I taught at Tangul Bay Primary School for 1 year and sent by the Ministry of Education to go and start Chemolingot Secondary School. And so I'm so passionate about the education of the young children, and also I'm so passionate about the empowerment of the youth, because the youth are our future heritage.
Which ordinarily would have brought me to the second question, which I would still ask, modify, and that your past experience, when one looks at it, is more of religious, Christian, and evangelical pastorhood work. That is the experience that I get. And now you are getting into a government job. How will that past experience be applied in this new position, which is a county government in nature, a government job in nature, and more or less a policy level position?
Thank you, Honorable Kimosop. Before you came, I had actually shared of various positions I have been privileged to serve in the government. So I'm not really getting to a new thing. It's like fish getting to water, because I have served as a board member in 3 government institutions. And again, even with that, Honorable Kimosop, you know, the church has been at the front line, you know, promoting education from my own experience and what I did. So if there's any institution that could be credited for education even in this country, is the church. Yes.
Okay. What is your understanding of an inter-county relationship, and what would be your approach towards the inter-county relationship? What would be your understanding and specific approach of an inter-county development?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In as far as the inter-county relationship is concerned, after the devolution, you know, so many functions have been devolved to the counties, and the counties cannot operate as silos. There is so much that counties can borrow from each other. And now, for instance, Mr. Chairman, what the docket I'm assigned, if approved by this House, to take care of, we have a lot that we can borrow from other counties. For instance, we have a number of challenges facing our ECD teachers. especially when it comes to remuneration, when it comes to terms of service. And there are other counties even across, like Uasin-Gishu, which the other day, gave their teachers better terms as permanent and pensionable. We can still benchmark and borrow a leaf from them. So there's so much that we can borrow, and I'm sure even we have the North Rift, county forum, whereby counties within the North Rift have come together to work toward being of use to each other in terms of economy, and I'm sure even in terms of education. There's so much sharing that goes along, and I'm sure even the Constitution allows that you can even enter into contracts with other counties. Yes.
I think, Chairman, I was worried because there is inter-county and intra-county. But now you have satisfied my curiosity.
Thank you.
What I had in mind was your thoughts around our relationship with other counties. We have Turkana, we have Elgeyo Marakwet, we have Laikipia, and I think I'm impressed that you understand the knowledge on the relationship between counties, and you have also dwelt on intra-county. So I think I'm satisfied, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kimosop. Reverend, maybe because when you'll be answering questions, you'll be answering through the chairman, and even when members will be asking questions, they'll be asking through the chairman.
Okay.
Because of time, so that we are able to move fast, allow me to request Honorable Lawi to ask a question, followed by Honorable Tuwit. Yes, let's take the questions from the two members.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Mr. Kiuta.
Yes, sir.
I've perused your CVs, and I've never seen any management course you have attended, yet this job of the CC is basically management. Have you attended any course, any management course?
Yes, I have. Chairman, I have. Through my CV, I attended a management course offered by corporate governance, and also I have attended a course at Kenya Institute of Administration then, which I'm sure now is the equivalent of where we are, on transformational leadership. And I've had induction conducted by the School of Government. I think it took like 4 days, whereby we were taken through on how government works and the synergy that exists within government entities. And I believe the same concept is not different from what I will employ within the docket I am nominated to, which I believe you will approve by the grace of God. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Kiuta.
Minority Leader.
Okay, morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Okay, Chairman, I want to ask Reverend to outline 5 key national county strategic priority areas for Department of Education, Sports, Culture, and Social Services. I have another question. Again, Chairman, I want to ask Reverend to identify 5 key performance indicators for the county ECDs, and vocational training centers. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. To begin with, in as far as the national sorry, I think the question was so compounded. If you wouldn't mind, Chairman, if the member would not mind, maybe you can repeat that first one.
Okay, outline 5 key national and county strategic priorities areas for Department of Education, Sports, Culture, and Social Services. That's the first question. Second question, Reverend, is identify 5 key performance indicators for the county ECDs and vocational training centers. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. First and foremost, nationally speaking, what we have within the counties is devolved function, but in the real sense, the policies emanate from the national. In as far as ECD is concerned, it is incumbent upon the county to ensure that standards are maintained, that ECD centers are qualified to be ECD centers, offering the acceptable type of education or the standard education, and also it has to be quality education, and therefore the quality assurance has to be in place. And on the other hand, Mr. Chairman, sports is such a key area in empowering the youth. And one of the greatest desire, even with the national government and of course by the county, is to ensure that sports are promoted within the county. And of course not working in isolation from what happens within the national level, that the talents that are there among our youth, by all means, are actually utilized, and they are unleashed for the empowerment of the youth. And the vocational training centers is also a devolved function when you look at the Schedule 4 of our Constitution. And therefore, these ones also have to meet the criteria of the national government, because the education that is offered within those centers should be measured to the standards, because they are even examined by NEC, and therefore it is always encouraged that the county has to put in a lot of effort and resources into it. And then culturally speaking, of course, the aspect of culture is such a promoter of our national values, and a promoter of national coexistence among even the communities of this country. Getting to your second question is about the indicator. Sorry, once again, sorry, Chairman, not that I'm deaf, but let the member repeat again that second question. Sorry for that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chairman. It's like the Honorable the Reverend has answered even question 2. Mm-hmm. So you have answered, because you talked of vocational training is in the number 2 question. Number 2.
2 follow-up questions, Reverend. Mm-hmm. You are the nominee for education, yes, sports, culture, and social services. Maybe I want you to list for us 3 issues that you'd like to see. I know we are in the third county government. We had the first count between 2012, 2013 and 2017. We had 2018 and 2022. Now we are 2020-2027, and you are the CEC. Can you tell us 3 issues you would want to see, or 3 projects you would like to see implemented in your department? And secondly, a follow-up question to what Honorable Lau had asked you. You said you attended a course at Kenya Institute of Administration, which is the predecessor for Kenya School of Government. Can you tell us how long was that training? How long was the training or the course? How long was the course?
First of all, thank you, Chairman. 3 major projects that I would want to see implemented within my tenure as the CC.
Yes, and one for every project. Like you tell us one for education, tell us one for sports,
yes,
tell us one for culture, another one for social services.
Thank you.
One.
Thank you. That is exactly what I would want to do, Chair, and thanks a lot for the opportunity. Now, in as far as education is concerned, Chairman, you have talked of project, and I don't know if this may be taken as a project, but I do believe it's still part of a project. You know, I come from a village, Chairman, and where there are ECD classes and centers. And what pains my heart, and I'm sure it pains also the hearts of these members, is that the children who are taught there, sometimes the environment is not that pleasant. Maybe there's no class that is designed professionally and up to standard for the children. You see them crowding within a very small place without really equipments. And so that is one area that I really would want to focus on, that for the very ECD centers that do not have classes, good classes up to standard, I have to work toward ensuring that there is some kind of standardization, especially classes that would be built from now onwards for the next 5 years, and I believe even in the coming years. Now, when it comes to sports, Chairman, I know this is an area where the youth are really empowered, and the economy of today focus on talent as well as knowledge economy. And part of this, if we would really want to empower our youth, is to help in their sporting activities, be it athletics or be it ball games. Now in our county, Chairman, since I'm a resident member of this county, I've had for several years of the KABARNET stadium that need to be put up, and I'm doubtful if it is up yet, and also Ravine stadium that needs to be refurbished and renovated. So among some of the projects that I would want to engage in, with the help, of course, of my boss, the governor, and the entirety of the executive, and also this honorable house, that we have those facilities. And of course, resources are so limited. We may not really have a lot of resources. But if we have those two to begin with, then we are good to go. And then maybe in the near future, every sub-county need to have some kind of stadium so that the talents that our youth that inhibit in our youth should come out, and then this turns around to be even an economic empowerment. And then finally, when it comes to culture, Baringo is a county of diversity. In a number of areas, culturally speaking, this is a county of diversity. And I know, of course, at times there are very little resources probably that are allocated to promoting culture, but at least there are activities that are going on.
Reverend, I'm afraid if we go that direction, we may not utilize time properly. I would like you to be brief and specific to the point, precise to the point. So that if I expect you to tell me about culture, you tell me I want to do ABCD.
Okay.
Yes, so that we minimize time, because time is a resource that's limited and we have so much to cover today.
Okay. So for that last one on culture, Chairman, is that I'll try my level best with the help of the executive and my boss, the governor, and also this house, that we establish a cultural center, a very serious cultural center, even within a metropolis like KABARNET, whereby our cultural values are put into use.
Thank you, Reverend. You have said you want to establish a cultural center. That's the point you want to make.
Yes.
Okay. The other question: how long was your training with Kenyan School Administration?
It wasn't a very long training, Chairman, because...
Reverend, that's just specific. 1 week, 2 weeks, 10 days?
No, it was just a week.
A week, thank you. At this point, let me request Honorable Kibet and Honorable Sialo to ask their questions.
Morning, Reverend.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. My question, I want you to tell us, how are you going to improve access to education in the remotest parts of Baringo? As you know, Baringo has so many remote parts who are still not accessing education. And you gave us how you have been able to have a pioneer. So can you tell us how you are going to do that? Another issue that I want you to tell us is we have a school feeding program. It is happening not in a uniform manner. You will find schools which are giving the school feeding program, others are doing it their own way. So how will you implement the school feeding program in Baringo? Another question, Reverend, I want you to outline 5 key development objectives for the Department of Sports, Culture, Youth, Gender, and Social Services. So maybe we'll just put it in point form so that we are able to move. Thank you.
You want me to answer?
Let them ask all the questions, then you can answer all of them once.
Okay.
Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Which position did you apply for?
I applied for this position that I'm nominated to.
Which position did you apply for, Reverend?
Or you mean when applying or when nominated? I actually applied for devolution.
Yes.
I did apply for devolution, but the governor in his wisdom assigned me the role of education. Yes.
So do you think you're comfortable?
Yes, I'm very comfortable. In fact, at first, I wanted to apply for the one for education, but I said there are so many trained teachers around this county, so it will be so crowded. But that was my heartbeat. Now, as a pastor, God saw the desire of my heart, and I was given the very one I had in mind. Yes.
Okay. Now, from your CV, I can see you're a clergy, and you did theology. You've been in a religious setup.
Yes.
Now you're being nominated into a political setup. How are you going to cope up with the politics?
Okay.
Honorable Siala, are you through with your question?
Now, given this opportunity, what is your plan? What do you think you will do in the first 100 days in office? And finally, since the inception of devolution, there are so many laws that were enacted in Baringo. Could you be in a position to probably tell us about 5 of them? 5 of the laws that were formulated, that are relevant to this position that you've been nominated to. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Reverend, you can answer those questions. Then we go to the next set.
Yes. Thank you, Chairman. The first question a member asked is about how I will make a contribution toward ensuring that education gets to the remotest parts of our county. And let me say, Chairman, that it is this honorable House that will assist in doing this, because the way out is to ensure that we have ECD centers within our wards, and also we have teachers which means our teachers have to be trained in order to provide quality education to our young learners. Now, 5 development objectives. One of it, actually, let me begin with that one. One of it is to establish ECD centers within our county, and also the one I had mentioned about establishing a vibrant cultural center. And again, Chairman, we need to have those stadiums within KABARNET and also Ravine, and later on, if God provides finances through partners or through the exchequer, whichever way, in the very near future. You know, Chairman, Waswahili wanasema palipo na nia pana njia. So, and then, so we need to put up even stadiums within the sub-counties. And then, in as far as sports are concerned, Chairman, we, as a CEC, I will try my level best to expand my linkages network, because even in the area of sports, it's a devolved area, and we are not confined only to the county. There's always, we can link up even with the national government, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and then even put up, you know, promote other games that are not necessarily there. You know, so many times people concentrate on ball games and athletics, but also we can develop even sporting talents in other areas like cricket, darts, tennis ball, and one other important aspect that I would want to consider, and by the help of the executive, is that we need also to have coaches that will coach our teams within the county. And the other question that a member asked, Honorable Sialo asked Chairman, is that I have been a clergy all the days of my life, and I'm getting into a political position. Now, if you heard me well, Honorable Member, from the beginning, I'm probably one unique clergy. I have had experiences, of course, 100% within the church, and also have had opportunity to work with government, and I know how government agencies work. And so that new knowledge is not actually going to be very, very foreign and unique to me. 100 days in office, I know that may sound short, but also long time when it comes to someone who would want to work, and I'm one of those persons, Mr. Chairman. One of the things I'll have to ensure is that I need to have the database of all the ECD institutions, a database for the teachers, and also ensure that the administration of this particular ECD centers is in place. Because I say so, Chairman, because most of the time, ECD centers are quite a number. Like I was told that we have like almost 900 ECD centers and over 1,800 ECD teachers. And if not probably managed and observed and monitored, then it's not possible to really achieve our educational goal for the early childhood development. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one question you've not answered, the school feeding program.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Now, thank you, Chairman. For the school feeding program, I know this is such a very important area, and also very, very challenging area, because children and food is the same thing. And I know most of the schools may not be getting food for feeding every other time. One one proposal I will come up with is that, you know, the primary schools have what they call capitation. And since the ECD is a devolved function, ECD is here to stay with us, and we have to better it by all means. And therefore, whatever amount that is allocated to ECD, in order for efficiency, since every ECD should be having board of management within its context, then there should be need for capitation so that the amount meant for feeding should be directed to the actual school for them to handle their resources. And I'm sure, of course, that is not even sufficient. But there are donors who probably are there now, and we can still reach out to more through strategic partnerships, so that if they are in a position to assist us, even feed children, especially in the marginalized and hardship areas, the better. But of course, since it's our sole responsibility as a county to ensure those children, those learners, get their education and also their well-being is also taken care of, there's need to actually consider capitation for them as the primary schools are done. And Mr. Chairman, you know, it is this same house, you honorable members are the ones who know where the shoe pinches. And so through the Department of Education of the House, I'm sure we'll be in a position when we team up together to even convince this House when it comes to budgeting to consider, you know, increasing even funds to the ECD centers.
Through the chair, Reverend, you are aware of public participation?
Yes, I am.
Have you ever participated?
Yes, once, but once I did participate once. Yes.
You see, Chair, Reverend, you know, all the time people say you members, but we are realizing those who are so much informed in the society, like Reverend Kuta,
yes,
has been absconding public participation in Churamaya. And that's the reason why I went to Churamaya. I was a member of PICPAC. Most of the ECDs were not complete, even maybe at your backyard. So can you tell us how do you intend to ensure that everybody, especially on education, participates in that public participation? Because if you only attended once, that worries for everybody. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. I would have wished that I had all the time, but you see, Chairman, when you are employed somewhere else, you are actually a slave to someone. But as a member has put it very clearly, the aspect of the education of the children is actually the honors of the parents and of the community members. So one of the things I'll do, Mr. Chairman, since now if approved to be the CEC education, is to ensure, even through the network of the ECD teachers and the county coordinators, and of course the planners within the county on public participation, it has to come very strongly, even during the executive proposals and meetings toward public participation. So this, you can be sure, Chairman, from today on, and God keeping us alive, maybe after 5 years, you will actually tell that Reverend Kuta, who was assigned this docket, has really done a superb job, because now everybody knows that ECD is such an incredible undertaking within our county. Thank you.
Chair, through the chair, Mr. Kuta, Reverend.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you about some of the laws that have been enacted since inception of devolution, and I asked you to at least mention 5 of them.
Okay. For the county or?
Yes, county, that are relevant to your department.
I'm sorry, Chairman, I may not have really answers on my fingertips in as far as that one is concerned. But of course, you can be sure, the first day in office, I have to know. I have to know it.
Okay,
sorry.
Okay. Noted, Reverend. Because of time, I'll give Honorable Kimosop to ask a question. Then I'll ask Honorable Fenalin, in that order, Lolkisoi, and Lokorio, in that order. Then you'll answer all the questions once.
No, Chairman, mine is a follow-up to this Honorable Sialo question. And I think, Reverend, I want us to be specific here. The department you will be in and the county government is governed by laws, acts of parliament. And we are only asking, which laws do you know? And these are specific, like which act, this act of parliament, if it is like even us here, we are here courtesy of an act of parliament called Appointments Act, which governs our operations here. Now the governor has nominated you courtesy of a law. So do you mention a few of those laws specific? 1, 2, 3, this act that will govern the devolution. Because I'm afraid then, if you say you may not have the specific, then it shocks me because you are going to be a very senior person in this department.
So, Reverend, you'll answer after the rest have asked the questions. Just know the question.
Thank you, Chair. Reverend, I know you understand the role of a CEC. May I know some roles of a CEC that you know? Just name 5 of them or any. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming and appearing, and congratulations for being nominated. And then you are appearing before us for vetting. We have a few things, maybe in education, because this is a docket that I'm passionate. And being passionate in this sector, I may be having some 2 or so questions to ask. One, outline the county budgeting process. You can outline county budgeting process. Also, 2, discuss the merits and the merits of CBC system in Kenya, merits and the merits of CBC. In Kenya, it's an ongoing process within our country. 3, and the last one, is what are the challenges facing education sector in the county and possible solutions? Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to ask the nominee for education, Reverend Kiuta, 2 questions. The first question, Reverend, is highlight strategies that you would put in place to ensure the county planning is translated into departmental objectives and ultimately serve or produce service delivery. That's the first question.
Okay.
Question number 2. Briefly, or let us know if you are aware of your counterpart in the national government, that is the PS education nominee in the national government. And the last one, the last one. What would be your distinct roles from those ones of the national government? Court?
Distinct roles?
Your distinct roles from those of the national government. That is the county roles as a CC nominee for education.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clear. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. The question regarding the act, I would want to say, Chair, what I meant by I may not know the ones for education within the county, because I'm sure as a CEC, one of the roles, although I'll still come to it, is that is to ensure that to bring bills and which will be passed within the House. But in as far as the devolution laws are concerned, I know that we are here as a county because of Chapter 11 of our Constitution, which of course is actualized through the Act of Parliament of 2012. So my operation is within the law. There is nothing in government that you do minus the law. And therefore, that is how I will be operating as a CEC every time conscious of the stipulations of the law. And then, Chair, I know my roles in as far as the Act and the Constitution is concerned is that as a CEC, I have by all means to execute the legislated laws, be it county or even those from the national government. And also, I am one of the policy makers because I am within the executive, and through the executive deliberations, I may also be in a position, have the privilege of even coming up with bills that need to be escalated to the county assembly for, of course, for the governor to assent to, and of course for implementation. And then my major role, of course, is to provide supervision and administration to the department, because I'm the agent of the executive within that department, and ensure that all national policies and legislations are adhered to. And then one of the other thing, of course, is that to build a teamwork and provide leadership within the department. And one very important one also is that I have to report probably on quarterly, as demanded by the law, to the Committee of Education within the House. And now, one question regarding the CBC. Of course, there are merits and demerits. And some of the merits within this new curriculum is that the goal of it is really to actualize the components within our Vision 2030, whereby we have those 3 pillars on economic, social, as well as political. And the curriculum prepares the learners toward being relevant to the challenges that come with the 21st century. And again, this is a program that promotes ethnic coexistence and patriotism among the learners. It's also a program that enhances character formation within the learners and also gives time to improve on their skills. Now, there are a number of demerits. One of the demerits which has really faced CBC curriculum is that there was no proper public participation. Stakeholders were not really brought to the picture. And the program is not bad. And so it has a lot of teething challenges. Now I know some people who still have those little ones. I have one, by the grace of God, a little one. It's a very expensive thing. And if it is expensive to those people who are in a position even to meet some live needs, what about those in the very far places? And again, the program, the curriculum really calls for, internet connectivity. You will find that CBC children will always ask for your phone. And what about if a parent do not have a smartphone, or even if they do, maybe they do not have the data. So those are some of the challenges, and this is why it has been subjected to review once again. His Excellency the President on 30th September this year had to launch the 42-member task force, and I'm sure even they are closer here, doing the same. So those are some of the challenges that come with it. And now, distinct roles, some of the distinct roles that as a CEC education that I hold to is that I'm not in charge of primary education or secondary education or college education. I'm only confined to ECD, and also vocational training education within the county. But having said that, that does not mean that the docket I have has no relationship with the basic education at all. And then a member also did ask me to probably tell of my counterpart in the national government, the PS of education. I do believe is Honorable Kibelio Kipsang has been given that particular docket. Sorry again, Chairman, there's a member who asked about two objectives. Sorry, please, Honorable Okorio, if you may repeat for me, I'll really appreciate.
Okay, Chair. The question was, Reverend, and probably before the question is, there was something you mentioned, you did mention that was so nice, that you would think of coming up with bills that will strengthen ECDs, probably going forward, suggest the kind of bills in your thoughts that you would want these legislators to legislate so that it enhances the ECD. Now, to my question, I had asked the strategies that you would put in place so that you ensure planning is translated into departmental objectives and ultimately service delivery. That was what I wanted you to look at.
Thank you, Chairman. The county, according to the Act of Parliament 2012, it's incumbent upon the county to come up with a CIDP plan, that is the County Integrated Development Plan, which I'm sure, even as we speak, there's public participation probably going on in as far as the third generation CIDP. And therefore, even as a department, we draw our structures from there, our plans are from there. Because it is only through what is presented to the public and they have that ownership that matters a lot. And therefore, for it to be translated into a tangible action, you know, these plans have to be financed. There should be a budget that has to finance these particular plans for the citizens to realize their actualization. And so, as a department, we would have to come up with those annual plans every time to ensure that what the public require done within my docket, be it in education, be it in sports or culture and social services, then they need to be put in place for the year, and of course they have to fit into the CDIP, and of course ask for funding toward their implementation. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Reverend Kiuta, I'm afraid that we have less than 9 minutes.
Maybe, Chairman, something small.
Honorable Ogore, what's funny?
Something small that I would like to get clearance from Reverend. Tell us something small. You skipped the distinct roles between the national government and the county government. Just if you may be aware. The roles of the national government in education and our roles as a county.
Okay.
In terms of provision of education. Yes, just that.
Thank you. Thank you, member. The law specifies them. Schedule 4 our constitution puts demarcation, the roles and the functions for the county and the roles for the national government. The national government have like 34 functions, and for us we have 14, and which means primary education, which ECD falls under, is part of that particular role, and even culture, social services still fall under that. Yeah. Thank you.
Reverend Kiuta, I'm afraid we have less than 7 minutes. But I'm afraid I can't, because you asked a pertinent question by Honorable Sialo and Honorable Kiputa Kimosov, but they have always been going round and round. And I think it's not fair. This is a senior position, Reverend Kiuta. The CC in charge of education. And I want you to be specific. Which law provides for the position or creates the position of CC? That's a direct question. And if you get the law, you also provide us the section or the article of that law that creates that position. And I not also want to leave the question that was asked by Kimosop. I would like you to give us 3 laws that govern devolution in Kenya. Because this is a senior position. If it was any other position, I would have excused you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you with this position, a law should be part and parcel of me. But in as far as the county government is concerned, first and foremost, of course, the Chapter 11 of our Constitution gives us, the laws. And now, Chairman, I have no Constitution here with me, but I know that Chapter 11 from Article 174, I believe, to 200, gives the functioning of the county government.
Reverend,
yes.
Don't run away. Ask about the CC. If you don't know, kindly say you don't know. We go to the next question.
Now, I know, Chairman, you are a lawyer, and I don't have to guess before you. I know.
It's not about being a lawyer.
I know, Chairman.
No, Reverend, yes. Reverend, you see, for us, there's a reference point. Before you speak, you say, when you appeared for this committee,
yes.
I told you are a creation of the Constitution, yes. And Section 7 of the Public Appointments County Government. Yes. So for you, I'm sure the day you appointed as CEC, you should have gone first of all and ask yourself, where do I find this position of CEC? Where do I get my mandate as a CEC? So now when you appear before us this morning, you should be able to tell us CEC is a creation of Article this of the Constitution. That's the much I expected from you. I hope I'm not asking much.
Oh, okay.
It seems you don't know that one. Let's leave that one. The second issue is the issue of 3 laws governing devolution in Kenya. 3 laws. I don't want to ask many. I know there are many. Yes.
You mean, now, Chairman, specific articles?
No, 3 laws. I'll give you one. County Government Act. You have answered one.
Oh, okay.
That's number 1. Now, 2 and 3.
Oh, maybe I have not given serious. You know, there are so many.
Okay, Bishop, it's okay. Reverend, it's okay. But please, next time when you appear before the Education Committee,
yes,
the chair for education, I know there are members of the Education Committee here. I want them to ask you that question when you appear before the Education Committee. That's if these members approve you. The next time you appear before us, we'll be specific, we'll be going to details, especially on the laws.
Be sure, Chairman, I'll master them from when I leave this door.
What's funny, Honorable Kisoi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Reverend, for being honest and being able to answer what you can and being honest on what you can't. Thank you for that. I had asked a question, and I wanted to know, are you aware of some of the challenges affecting education in this country, yes, and in Kenya, in Baringo specifically? Are you aware of some challenges,
yes,
overall education? And then the next one, are you aware that you can be involved in any way in budgetary process? Can you give us a specific thing that you can be involved in budgetary, if any, and the challenges affecting education in this country?
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Of course, there are a myriad of challenges facing education in our county, and one of them is the issue of insecurity, especially in Baringo South sub-county, and also North Baringo, and then Tiati, and by extension, it affects the entirety of our county, because a county is one body, and when one of the parts hurts, it really bothers. And of course, that is not the only one. There are a number of others. As I did mention earlier, like the very docket that if you approve me to serve as the CEC, there are many ECD centers probably that have not trained teachers. And that is a big problem. And of course, feeding is a serious problem. And as we speak now, with the ravaging drought, I'm sure a number of schools are not operational because of a ravaging drought. There's no food. And food that probably donors and partners are providing may not be sufficient. Yeah. And then, of course, in as far as the budget is concerned, as a department, I have to play a very key role. I play a key role in as far as the plans for the department are in place, and of course these plans are within the CIDP, and then I have to be involved in one way or another, alongside of course my team, to ensure that we have annual plans that will translate to now the budget. Thank you.
Chairman.
Honorable Kibet, we are running out of time.
Okay, just one final one. When you asked about your counterpart, for example, you are the CEC education. Who is your counterpart in the national?
Sorry, Chairman.
No, Honorable Kibet, I think the question to Honorable Lokorio was the principal secretary.
Yeah,
that's what
I had.
Yes, and answered. Perhaps you can ask your question now.
You know, when they say the counterpart, and then
yes,
he said Beliok Sang, so I wanted to know if he still insists.
No, you ask the question. Ask the question.
So you said your counterpart in the national government. Can you give us who is your counterpart and about the PS you have answered about that one? Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. I was only respectful to the member because he said your counterpart or the PS, yes. But I knew, of course, the CS is.
Reverend Kuta, the chairman has already issued directive on that. We can't revisit it.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my counterpart is Honorable Ezekiel Machogu. Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend. Reverend, we want to give you 3 minutes to make your final remarks. Thank you for coming, but you make your final remarks.
Thank you, Chairman. First and foremost, I would want to appreciate you as the chair and this entire panelists for giving me a very humble time. I realize, of course, the questions were very considerate, and I did try my level best to answer them, but you can be sure, Chairman, if this Honorable Assembly House approves me to this docket, next time I appear before the committee that is in charge of my docket, I'll be closer to you in law. And so I really appreciate and I wish you God's blessings as you continue with your noble job. Thank you very much.
We have come to the end of this session. This committee will retreat and make a report on your suitability. I know you're a prayerful person. You continue praying. Pray also for us that God may favor you. I don't know whether the prayers will reach these members, but you continue praying. And honorable members, we have come to the end of this session. We are having another member in another 10 minutes. Reverend Kuta, thank you. Mr. Lokore, you can hand over the documents to the nominee. We wish you all the best. If you are successful, we will work with our committee.
Thank you, Chairman.
You can escort him out as we prepare for the next session. Let's take our seats. The nominees on the way coming. Can let's know who is before us this morning. You can use the microphone.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Wilson Cecm.
Do you have your original ID?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Can hand it over to the Sergeant at Arms. Yes, I can confirm that you are Wilson Cecm, and the nominee for Finance and Economic Planning is Wilson Cecm. On that note, this is a committee of the County Assembly, and as a tradition, any person who appears before us has to take an oath, and I would like to call upon the clerk to administer an oath or an affirmation to you before you can engage.
The information I will give to this committee is the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Honorable members, I do confirm that the nominee, Wilson Cheserek Ruto, has taken an oath, and I have the oath with me here. He has signed the same, and I confirm that we can engage him now. Honorable members, before you this afternoon, this mid-morning, is Wilson Cheserek Ruto, the CEC nominee for Finance and Economic Planning. Which name do you prefer us to call you? Which name do you prefer us to call you?
Cheserek will still make it. Wilson is okay.
So for the purpose of this committee, I'll call you Mr. Cheserek.
Thank you, sir.
Cheserek, you'll have 60 minutes to be engaged by these members. And before you this morning is the Committee of Appointment of the Baringo County Assembly. This committee draws its mandate from the Constitution and Section 7 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act number 5 of 2017 and Standing Order 190 of the Baringo County Assembly, which mandates this committee to test the suitability of any person nominated for position of a CEC. Your name was forwarded to us by the governor on the 25th of October 2022. We placed a notice in the newspapers inviting persons to present any memoranda or objections to your nomination, and allow me to inform you that we didn't receive any objections or any memorandum objecting to your nomination, and as such, we are beginning from at that point. This committee is chaired by myself, the Speaker, and it has 11 members. I'll give the microphone to the members to do self-introduction. Let me start with my Deputy Speaker, my Deputy.
Yeah, my name is Honorable Kipruto Kumosop, the Deputy Speaker, Baringo County Assembly, a member of this committee, and also the MCA Mochongoi Ward.
Let me give it to my right.
Honorable Lawi Talam, MCA Lembusquin, the Majority Leader, Baringo County Assembly, and also a member of this committee. Thank you.
Honorable Josephat Lukurio, MCA Barwesa Ward, Deputy Majority Leader and a member of this committee.
I'm Honorable Vanalyn Jerop, nominated MCA Baringo County and a member of this committee.
Honorable Paul Olgisoi, MCA Mgutani Ward, a member of this committee, also the Deputy Minority Leader. Thank you.
Okay, my names are Daniel Tuwit Loreria, MCA Ripco Ward and Minority Leader.
Morning, Cheserek. My name is Ernest Kibet Tarus, Majority Whip, MCA KABARNET, member to this committee.
My name is Aib Kibet, Ewalel Chapchap Ward MCA, and a member of this committee. Thank you.
My name is Honorable Jane Jerob, nominated MCA, Baringo County, member of this panel. Welcome to this panel, Mr. Cheserek, and wish you the best.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Mailuk Shedrak, MCA Tangulbe Korosi Ward, member of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Max Yalo, MCA Mogoti Ward. Thank you, Chair.
I'll also give to our clerk to do introduction for herself and the members of staff.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Winnie Chemase, the clerk of this committee. Together here is the team of the staff. We have the deputy clerk, Mr. James Warata. We have Zipporah Koroti, the Hansard editor. We have Madam Betty Toroitich, head of legal. We have Lulu Chochoi, head of human resource. We have Tekeiwa Henry, head of research. We have Emma Kemei, the head of ICT. We have Locorio, Sergeant at Arms. And on my right, we have Sharon Cecm, the Hansard reporter. Thank you.
Mr. Cheserek, when we placed the notice in the newspapers, we requested you to come with some original documents.
Yes, Chairman.
Kindly let's have those original documents. You can hand it over to our Sergeant at Arms. You will hand them off, you will give them back to you at the end of this session.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Cheserek, do you have a valid KRA tax compliance?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Do you have a valid higher education loans board clearance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Do you have a valid ESCC clearance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Do you have a valid certificate of good conduct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Do you have IBC? Do you have a clearance from IBC?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have a valid clearance certificate from reputable credit reference bureau?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
On your documents, your living certificate for Kangaroo School, ID, and your other documents talks of Wilson Cheserek Ruto.
Yes.
Are we referring to the same person, or there's another Wilson Chetalam Ruto somewhere else?
The same persons. I have an affidavit to support those names that they refer to one and the same person.
Do you have the affidavit here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it is in the documents. It is in that envelope.
Okay.
There's an envelope behind.
Sorry. Yes, I've seen there's an affidavit drawn by Silas Aluku, and it's commissioned by Gladys Piama. Is that the same one?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Cheserek, have you been charged and convicted by a court of law?
No, Mr. Chairman, no.
Are you a dual citizen?
I am a Kenyan, not a dual citizen.
Mr. Cheserek, these members will get an opportunity to ask you questions.
Yes, Mr.
And whenever you ask questions, kindly answer them through the chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
They will also ask the questions through the chairman, and when you're answering, you answer through the chairman. I also expect you to be precise and to the point, so that you're able to save a lot of time. I also expect you to be honest when answering questions. If you don't know the answer, please kindly say you don't know the answer, so that we are able to move with speed. And the other issue is the issue of conflict of interest. Any member here may declare a conflict of interest before we proceed. It's a requirement under Section 12 of the Public Officer Ethics Act. As I told you before, there were no memorandums or affidavits from the public objecting to your nomination. Honorable members, allow me to declare interest that I have known Mr. Cheserek for quite some time. We share a stream, and the road that goes to my home, I have to pass through his home. So I don't know, it's all I'm saying, it will not affect my judgment, but I want to say that somebody I know. Yes. Just in case to be contentious at some point, is someone I know. Yes. Mr. Cheserek, when you came to the assembly, you were given a form to fill.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And I've looked at your form.
Yes.
And two issues
yes.
are of interest to me. The first one is, I've seen that your current salary.
Yes.
And your current salary for the last 10 months supersedes the salary that you expect a CEC to earn.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What would be your explanation for leaving a salary, a huge salary, to take a salary cut?
Mr. Chairman, at the sunset of one's life, you realize there are things that you need to do to society. I have passion in serving my community. For the last over 34 years, Mr. Chairman, I have worked in the private sector. Whilst I've made some little contribution to my community in Intermission by setting up a mixed day secondary school, I have not done much for my community. And that is why at the sunset of my career, at 59 years of age, I felt, if given the opportunity, and I appreciate the governor for nominating me, given the opportunity, if you will be able to approve this vetting, then I would love to serve the people of Baringo County. That is my passion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you have also noted that you are now 59 or 60?
I am 59 years, Mr. Chairman.
So are you leaving your job at Access Bank to take up the job of CC at Baringo County?
Mr. Chairman, I've already taken terminal leave pending retirement in anticipation that this committee shall approve the nominations.
Thank you, Mr. Jeserek. I can see yours is service to humanity.
Thank you, sir.
Let's also take your statement of net worth, and maybe you can tell the members how much you are worth and the distribution of your assets.
Mr. Chairman, my net worth is Kenya shillings 94 million. All of this, majority of this are in my houses. I have an house in an apartment in Upper Hill, Nairobi, which is worth around 25 million. I have a retirement home in Outspan Eldoret, which is also and should be around another 20 to 25 million. And I have some pension contributions which have not been paid, but around 20 to 21 million. I have a plot in Eldoret which has not been developed. It should be around 15 million. And all these are assets which I have acquired through my banking career. The property that I inherited from my father in KABARNET, I have given it a sentimental value with zero market value.
Mr. Jeserek, unfortunately, you haven't talked about the property that you have given zero sentimental value in your assets. Still on the same, your monthly projection of income, your income, because I can see you didn't tell us your projection of income, because perhaps we can say this is what you acquired from your salary. What's your projection of income?
Mr. Chairman, my income has always and still remains my salary. All those properties, my Nairobi property, my children are occupying. The Eldoret property, my wife is enjoying residency, and I have not constructed the Elgonview property. So in terms of income, the only income that I have been receiving, that I continue to receive, are the salary.
Thank you, Mr. Jeserek. I'll ask you a few questions, then the other members will take it up from there. Mr. Jeserek, briefly tell us about yourself. I'm giving you 5 minutes to tell us about yourself. Let the members know who Mr. Jeserek is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Wilson Jeserek Ruto. I come from Intermission. I am married with one wife, blessed with 5 children. I went to St. Joseph's High School, Kitale, for my secondary education, and I went to Kangaro, Embu, for my high school, A levels, and thereafter I went to Marathwada University, India, for my bachelor's degree. Currently, I am the general manager in charge of credit at Access Bank, Nairobi. And chairman in terms of service to community, I am the chairman BOM Trimyonin Mixed Day Secondary School. I am also the chairman of Transnational Bank Staff Pension Scheme, having been qualified as a certified public trustee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cheserek, I didn't hear you talk about schooling, or you did not go to school, you just found yourself at Access Bank.
Mr. Chairman, you interrupted a bit. I had said I went to Trimyonin Primary School. I then went to St. Joseph's High School, Kitale, for my ordinary level. Thereafter, I went to Kankaru High School, Embu, for my A levels. Marathwada University in India, Maharashtra State, for my bachelor's degree, BCom. And much later on in life, I got my MBA from Moi University. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Cheserek. Another question would be, you have applied for the position of CEC. You have been nominated for position CEC Finance.
Yes.
You have also stated in your documents that you are the general manager or manager?
General manager, Mr. Chairman.
You are the general manager.
Yes.
Kindly tell us how many staff you have been in your career. How many members of staff have you been supervising, or how many members of staff have been under you, and how much have you been, what you can say, the portfolio? How much have you been managing?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
At the moment, just before my separation, and my separation was effective 1st of November, I was general manager credit in Access Bank. And in the Access Bank environment, because of technology and innovation in technology, the number of reportees to me came down from over 30 to 4, to just 4 members of staff. But in my previous life, before we changed from Access Bank, from Transnational Bank to Access Bank, I had over 30 members of staff who were reporting to me directly. In terms of the risk assets that I managed, in Transnational Bank it was over 7.2 billion. It came down significantly during the Access Bank era. I do not know why, but it came to around 4.3 billion. Those are risk assets are basically what customers have borrowed from the organization. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is it 4.3 Ugandan shillings or dollars?
Mr. Kenya shilling, I'm talking of Kenya shillings, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cheserek, for the questions, for the answers. Let me give to Mr. Honorable Kimosop to ask 2 questions.
Yes, Bwana Cheserek.
Yes, Honorable Kimosop, thank you.
Yes. What makes you think you are suitable for this position?
Mr. Chairman, I have been a banker for several decades, almost 3 decades now, and I having gone through the roles, the profiles, the activities that happen in the finance docket in the counties. And with my knowledge, with my experience, with the skills that I've acquired over time, I have the conviction, Mr. Chairman, that I'll be able to do this job.
Yeah. And how do you intend to apply that in your new position? Like now, if you are to become the CC Finance, how will the experience, technology, knowledge that you have acquired in your previous job help us in the county? How do you intend to do that? I'm imagining that you have taken time to reflect on your new position, the challenges that may have been there, And how do we hope to benefit from your experience?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will, in terms of using the knowledge that I've acquired, how will it be useful in the county? How will it be useful to the colleagues that we'll be working with? How will we be useful to a critical department, a critical organ like the Baringo County Assembly that I will be interacting closely with, if given the opportunity to be CC Finance? I will use the knowledge that I've acquired and to my level of interaction, and I'll pass the information critically to the staff that will be working with. I will pass the knowledge. We'll have a training session.
Maybe let me be a bit specific. I think that's a good response, but let me be a bit specific. In this county, we still collect revenue almost manually.
Yes.
Okay? You have just said when Access Bank, when transformed itself from transnational to Access Bank, you had a staff of 30, 34.
Yes.
Because of technology, it came down to 4. I'm imagining the huge chunk was taken up by technology. How do you apply that component of technology in our revenue collection and in our financial management system, even in our procurement? Because you are in charge of all that as the CC.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I get you loud and clear in terms of technology is key. Technology is the way to do. Technology is the future. We will not be able to achieve our objectives as an account if we will not apply technology in revenue collection, in communication flow, in getting information from the public at the time of public participation. So personally, I will ensure that we will come to this county assembly. We will ask for a budget on training. We will ask for a budget to beef up our IT infrastructure.
Okay, Chairman, I am satisfied.
Let me give to Honorable Lawi to ask one question, then Honorable Sialo, in that order.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Cecm, having worked in the finance, dockets, credit bank, all those financial institutions, hope you are aware that the county government is also allowed to borrow, apart from the equitable share and donations.
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you think that your knowledge will add value to Baringo County so that you can as well go source funds in form of credit, bring it to Baringo, invest it somewhere where it will give us returns and pay back the debt? Can that really work?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Mr. Jeserek, you will answer. Just record the questions. You'll answer them after. You will take the questions from the two members, then you answer all of them once. Okay. Yes.
Guided, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Are you through? Sialo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Cecm.
Good morning, Sialo. Pleasure, sir.
Thank you. From your education qualification, I've seen that you went to Marathadwa University in India.
Yes.
Did you do it online or you went there in person? Number 2, which position did you apply for? I've seen also your qualification that you got an executive master's degree. How did you acquire it? My next question is, having worked in the finance sector for all those years, what experience will you bring in to the county government that will accelerate intra and intergovernmental development. Then on the issue of your education qualification, could you mention some of those qualifications, your education qualifications? And then Baringo County has enacted several laws related to public finance management. Are you aware of those laws? And if you are aware, can you mention a few of them? We also have several legislations on operations of finance department. I would also ask you to mention a few of them.
Repeat, sorry.
I'm saying there are several legislations that are there that will guide your operations in finance. So I'm asking you to mention a few of those legislations that are related to your docket. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You may answer those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will start with, Mr. Chairman, the question by Honorable Lawi on borrowings and the county level. The CIDP is a short-term, five-year program, but it links into the national plans, particularly the Vision 2030. Even if it is a short term, the Vision 2030 will not be achieved without the five-year development plan, and it also links up with the annual development plans for the county and the budgeting process. Those are the linkages that I would mention. Honorable Lewitt. Yeah?
Honorable Tuwit.
Tuwit, sorry, Mr. Chairman. Tuwit. How is that?
Yeah. Dr. Sirma, you'll have 60 minutes engagement with these members. Please help us to manage that time. This is the Committee of Appointment for Baringo County Assembly, Kenya, Section 7 of the Public Appointments, County Assemblies Approvals Act number 5 of 2017, and Standing Orders 190 of Baringo County Assembly. This committee is chaired by myself in my capacity as the Speaker, and I'll invite the members here to do self-introduction. There are 11 members with us here. Let me start with my immediate left.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, my name is Honorable Kibruto Mosop, MCA Mochongoi Ward, a member of this appointments committee, and also the Deputy Speaker, Baringo County Assembly. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Honorable Lawi Kipchumba Talam, MCA Lembusquin, the Majority Leader of Baringo County Assembly, and also a member to this committee. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon to you.
I am Lokoria Josephat, member of County Assembly Baruesa and Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon.
I'm Honorable Veneline Jerob, nominated MCA Baringo County and a member of this committee. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sirma.
Good afternoon to you.
I am Paul Olgisoi, MCA Mugutani Ward, a member of this committee. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon to you.
My name is Mark Sialo, MCA Mogoti Ward, and a member of this committee. You're welcome.
Asante.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Sirma, my name is Mailuk Shedrak, MCA Tangube Korosi Ward, member of this committee.
Thank you.
Bari Daktari.
Good afternoon.
Naitwa Jane Jerob, nominated MCA, representing the person living with disability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ayub Kibet, MCA, Ewalel Chap Ward, and a member of this committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon to you.
My name is Ernest Kibet, MCA KABARNET, Majority Whip, and member of this committee.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
I'm Daniel Tuwit Doreria, MCA Ripco Ward, minority leader, and a member of this committee. Welcome.
Thank you.
Daktari, with us here also is our clerk, who will introduce herself and the members of staff present.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Winnie Chemase, the clerk of County Assembly of Baringo. We have the staff with us. We have the deputy clerk, James Warata. We have Zipporah Koroti, the head of Hansard. She's the editor. We have Emma Kemei, the head of ICT. We have Henry Tekeiwa, head of research. We have Madam Lulu Chochoi, the head of human resource. We have Hilda Kiprono, office administration or administrative. We have Tuikong Kiprotich, head of communication. We have Tobole Locorio, the Sergeant at Arms. My farthest right, we have Sharon Cecm, Hansard reporter. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Daktari, we now know all of us.
Yes, sir.
When we placed the advertisement in the newspaper, we requested you to come with the original documents. Do you have them with you?
Yes, I have them with me.
Kindly hand it over to Mr. Tobole, our Sergeant at Arms. He will return them to you after this session. Daktari, do you have a valid KRA tax compliance?
Tax compliance?
Yes.
Yeah.
You will have to respond because it's recorded in the answer. Do you have a valid Kenya Revenue Authority tax compliance?
Yes, I do have a KRA compliance certificate.
Yes, also be addressing the chairman whenever you're answering questions. Do you have a valid higher education loans board clearance?
Yes, sir. I do have a higher education laws board clearance.
Do you have a valid Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission clearance?
Yes, I do have a EACC clearance form.
Do you have a valid certificate of good conduct?
Yes, I do have a certificate of good conduct.
Do you have a valid clearance from a reputable credit reference bureau?
Yes, I do have a CRB clearance.
Thank you. We shall go through the same and we'll seek clarification if need be.
Okay, sure.
Have you been charged and convicted in a court of law?
No, I've never.
Are you a dual citizen?
No, I'm one Kenyan citizen only.
Okay. Daktari, members of this committee will ask you questions.
Yes, sir.
You will be expected to answer the questions through the chair. And since the members know that they will also ask the questions through the chair.
Okay, acknowledge, sir.
You will be expected to be precise and to the point when answering questions.
Point taken, sir.
You will also be expected to be honest in answering all questions. And for the honorable members, as a tradition, you are expected to declare conflict of interest as per Section 12 of the Public Officer Ethics Act 2012. Daktari, when we placed their notice in the newspapers,
Yes,
we requested for members of public to raise objections and memoranda or affidavits if need be. And I wish to confirm to you that we did not receive any for your case, and as such we'll proceed on that basis.
Thank you, sir.
Daktari, when you came to the county assembly, we gave you a form to fill, a questionnaire.
Yes, sir.
I would like to take you through that questionnaire.
Yes, Chair.
And one of the things that I noted, your sources of income.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned salary and farming.
Yes.
Can you tell us how much is your salary?
Okay, salary cumulatively per year I get around 4 million. It may vary upwards slightly because of annual increment.
I want, if you can break down for us to monthly income.
The other income?
Monthly salary.
Gross will be, although it's over 350.
Over 350, thank you. You also talked about farming.
Yes, sir.
You have not told us what you are farming. You know, in Kenya we have supporters of another party which, I don't know what's the name of that other party that has been advocating for planting of some other crops. So we want to know which crop have you been planting or which animals have you been rearing?
You see, that is cumulatively together with the size of the farm.
So it's farming, which kind of farming are you in?
I do maize and cattle.
Okay.
Dairy farming.
Thank you. Let's go to your net worth.
The?
Net worth. Your
Net
wealth.
worth.
Yes. Your wealth.
Or my net?
Net worth.
I'd written there it's around 24,700,000.
Can you give us a breakdown?
That is farming is around 20.
Sorry?
No, I don't think it is. You see, why I mentioned, you need that is the wealth declaration I usually do every year. I thought we meant the wealth declaration.
Number 25, there's a statement of your financial net worth. And you told us about a family farm worth 20 million.
Yes, yeah.
Where is this farm, and do you have any documents to support the same?
I don't have it with me, the documents right now, the title deed.
What's the size of the farm and where is it?
It's around between 32 acres.
And where is this farm?
It is at Majimazuri Mumberes ward.
Majimazuri Mumberes ward?
Yeah.
Your other wealth?
That one now, it was the salary, the one I mentioned.
Yes.
And I have 2 cars. One is worth around 400,000 and the other one is worth around 300,000.
Okay. Thank you. I'll ask you also, perhaps you can tell us about yourself, Daktari. You have 4 minutes to tell us, to briefly tell us about yourself.
Come again, sir.
You have 4 minutes to tell us about yourself.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, Chair, I'm Dr. Solomon Kibet-Sirma. I am a medical doctor and I'm a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology. And I was born on the 11th of October 1967 I'm fifth born in a family. And I should make this one also known that I was the first one to be born in an hospital, Eldama Ravine Hospital. I started my primary school at Kabimoy Primary School, 1980 to 74, did my CPE. Thereafter, I went to Lenana High School, 1981 to 84 for all levels. Thereafter, I went to Litain High School for my sixth form, Form 5, Form 6, 85, 86. Then I remained a little bit at home, and then I was lucky to get a scholarship to go and study medicine in Italy. And by the way, I did medicine in Italian language, and I'm fluent in Italian. I graduated after 6 years. Thereafter, I came to do internship at Kenyatta National Hospital from 1997 to 98. After completion, I was posted to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital to work as a medical officer. I worked for 2 years. Thereafter, I joined the University of Nairobi under Kenyatta National Hospital to do my master's in obstetrics and gynecology. After completion of my master's in 2007, I was posted to Kapsabet District Hospital as the medical superintendent and as a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology, and I was given additional duties to be the then director of medical services within Nandi County, where I was there for 2 years. Thereafter, I was posted to PGH Nakuru as a specialist, and I was the head of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, where I worked for 4 years. Thereafter, the devolution came, and they required directors, chief officers, CECs, so I applied to be the director. So I was a director of medical services for Nakuru County for 5 years until the year 2019. Thereafter, an opportunity came that they wanted chief officer. I did apply, and I've been the chief officer medical services in Nakuru County to date, and on a contract which is expiring next year in March. That is my position now.
Thank you, Daktari. You have an impressive career. Are you a member of any professional body?
Yes, Chair. I am a member of the Medical Association.
Yeah.
And I'm a member of Kenya Obstetrics and Gynecological Society.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Congratulations, Daktari. Let me give to my colleague to ask you some few questions. We'll take questions from Honorable Kimosop and Honorable Olkisoi.
Daktari, first of all, congratulations for your nominations. And the position in question is CC. I have listened to your impressive background. What makes you think that you are suitable for this position of CC? Okay. You, just curiosity, your contract as a chief officer will expire in March next year. If we confirm you as a CC, you are expected to resume, to commence work here immediately. What happens to that? You terminate the other contract, or we wait for you to finish the other contract, then come and take up this position?
I think where I am currently, I think I'm satisfied at the level where I am. And actually, I am a PNP, permanent pensionable, in Nakuru County as the director. I was only seconded as the chief officer. And the salary that I was earning is the salary of a director, because the salary of a chief officer is lower than the directors because of being value as a medic, because the other allowances. So in public service, an officer, when he moves to another job, cannot be disadvantaged. If you're earning more than what you are going to be given, then you retain the same. So what will happen here now is, now I'm around 55 years. So once I'm lucky to be given an opportunity to work in Baringo County as a CEC, I'll just take early retirement under the 50-year rule. And I'll come and work as the CEC of.
No, I think I'm satisfied. I think, Chair, so what I get from you is there would be no delay.
Yeah, there is no delay.
Like you would assume the responsibility immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now tell me your experience as a chief officer. The chief officer, in my understanding, is the accounting officer of the department. You must have obviously worked with a CC, and you must have worked in a county environment where you are oversighted by the assembly. What is your experience? What was your experience engaging the assembly committee? Did you ever appear before the Nakuru County Assembly Committee at any time? And if so, on what accounts? What were the issues? Your reports at any time? Generally, just to understand the environment around which you worked as a chief officer, at the executive level, and the relationship with the assembly, because that would still be the same environment here.
Yeah, yes, Chair. I think being the chief officer, many times we interacted with members of the County Assembly of Nakuru for various reasons. I know one of them was about the human resource. Another one was about delay in projects implementation. The other one was about strikes within the department. And we had a very cordial relationship with members of the County Assembly of Nakuru, because whenever they called us, we were able to explain any of those audit queries they were asking, or any clarification pertaining to what they are presenting to us. So I should say we worked well.
So you worked well. At no time you were censored, at no time you were summoned or anything?
There was no censoring. It was only we were summoned for clarification.
Yeah, but at no time did any censor
no,
come
no,
up
no,
on
no,
the,
no
okay,
censors.
thank you. Then finally, Chairman, on my part, is I don't know what to call it, whether to call double loyalty or a blessing on our end, because we are having worked in Nakuru County, and you have an experience of Nakuru County. Now we are talking about Baringo County, and a practical question on my end. The biggest challenge we have, of course, here is the health sector and the health system. What, in your view, comparatively, when you compare the situation we are in, the situation Nakuru is in, and the kind of proposals that you have to make Baringo health system function better than it is now?
Thank you, Chair. What I should say, how we work in Nakuru is actually, I can call it, is not rocket science. It's the normal things that are meant to be done. And when you're addressing the issues of health, we have pillars that we need to address. One is the human resource. The other one is health financing. The other one is health infrastructure, leadership and governance. The other one is service delivery. The other one is M&E, monitoring and evaluation. So when you address the issue of leadership and governance, you have to have an organogram. From the governor, there is a CEC, the chief officer, we have the directors, and we have something called the CHMTs, that is County Health Management Team. Actually, those are the backbones of health, of which it is not well structured in Baringo County. That is what I realized.
You will realize, Daktari, or I inform you, maybe, I don't know whether you have the information, that our biggest crisis is lack of medicine in our facilities. Yes. Actually, that is the biggest headache that we have. What would be your comment on that? How would you help us to fix that so that we don't have shortage of drugs in our facilities?
The issue of health products and commodities is very important in terms of service delivery. Because what we did in Nakuru is that we prioritize drugs. And we sourced from the cheapest suppliers. And we are using KEMSA. There is another supplier called Mission of Essential Drugs and Services, which are cheap. And once in a while, we only went to these other private suppliers or the local suppliers, if there was need. And we allocated enough money for health products and commodities in Nakuru. And for the 5 years that we were there was no outcry of stockouts. And we also see loopholes where there are pilferages, because we have in every sub-county a county pharmacist who gives data and he shares with us every month. Of course, we are not fully automated as we would have wished, but we picked honest healthcare workers. Of course, there'll be few rotten ones here and there, but we managed to stop them from taking away the drugs for our patients.
So, Chairman, Daktari, so I take it as a commitment to you, from you, and to this committee and to the people of Baringo, that with Dr. Sirma at the helm, the issue of drugs as a crisis will be adequately addressed and will be a thing of the past.
I will say yes, okay, but we shall need a lot of support from the county assembly members.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Those are my questions.
Honorable Olkisoi. There's a follow-up question by Honorable Lawi. Now you may ask the question, then Olkisoi.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing me that time. I've heard Daktari say we used to allocate good amount of money to the health sector. And I know Nakuru County gets a bigger share
resource envelope from the national compared to Baringo.
Exactly.
I'm lucky to have served as a budget chair during the other regime, and I'm still the budget chair, a budget member, sorry. How much was allocated to the health department? I've seen the budget chair looking at me. How much was always allocated to the Department of Health in terms of medicine, in terms of O&M, and in terms of salaries? And how was the wage bill behaving? Because here in Baringo we have a problem with the wage bill, that it is even more than development. Thank you.
Okay.
Daktari, let's wait for all the questions, then you'll answer all of them.
Maybe, Chairman, just on that line, Daktari, just like, we know Nakuru County has a bigger cake, but just on like a dispensary, we know we have dispensaries in Nakuru also. So can you try to show us how much was the likely budgetary allocation for a dispensary for, that is a level 2, maybe, what do you call the health, the level 3, that is the health centers, and maybe the level 4, so that the issue of money we get to know, because we also know what we've been doing in Baringo, but maybe you tell us how much money, as the chief officer, you've been budgeting for such infrastructure.
Thank you, Chairman. Daktari, I've seen your impressive performance in primary, that was CPE, clean A's. I've seen you've gone to your master's level. I've seen that you have worked, you have an experience working with Moi Referral Teaching and Referral Hospital. You have been to Nairobi, you have been to Nakuru. And coming to Baringo County, given that you have been nominated and if approved, you will serve in this county for the period that you will get your contract. You realize we have challenges in the medical field or in the health sector. We have spread of hepatitis B, Sandai area, Loitep area, Mugutani area, it's increasing. You have cancer level going up. You have challenges in this place, or employees, medical practitioners, few. We have challenges in Baringo of insecurity and all that. In your journey of academic progression and in your journey also on the experiences you have, how do you draw your relevance to this post that you are being nominated to? That if appointed, how do you draw your relevance to that post to Baringo County? Second, your highest level, how will it serve this county? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I would like to start with the question of the majority leader, that, Honorable Lawi. What I should say, I can say a lot of things. Allocations for all counties are never enough. They are never enough. When you look at Nakuru County, they get, health alone get around 7 billion allocation. But I can say 65 and above to 70, between 65 and 70 goes to salaries of staff. And so when you check what's going to remain, will be for recurrent and development, which is not always enough. First of all, I want to give you a small brief of what a partner did for us in Nakuru County in terms of health products and commodities. They did something called forecasting of and quantifications. Exactly what do we require every year, so that we can say we have enough. And they went ahead. When they gave us a report, they told us for Nakuru to say we have enough, we require every financial year around 1.3 billion for drugs. And what we managed, no, it's 2 billion, sorry. It's 2 billion. And what we usually allocate for commodities, health products and technology, that is what we call it, is 800 million every year in Nakuru County. And how we allocate monies to the level 1, no, level 2 and 3 and 4, we use what we call a workload of that facility. And everybody has something called a drawing rights. If you are seeing our drawing rights will depend on the workload of that facility. If you see more patients, you get more for drugs. If you see less patients, you get less. Now, when we come to, that is for levels 2 and 3. When we come to level 4, these are now facilities who collect money called F5. And after devolution, we did a legislation of an F5 bill where we ring fence funds that are collected in this level 4. And in Nakuru County, we have around 15 level 4s. So we have what we call a low volume and a high volume. So in terms of volumes, the low volumes, of course, will get less allocation for drugs. And the high volume will get the equivalent of their workload. For level 5, it's a bit different because level 5 gets what is called conditional grant. That is a former Provincial General Hospital. It was given conditional grant to cushion them because they are referral hospital for 8 counties, that Baringo included. So for them, they have sufficient. Apart from, they still collect F5, and it is plowed back to the facility to improve the facility. And on top of that, even our wage bill, although I'm sure it will be legal if it is well scrutinized, that same monies, the F5, is used to employ, to engage healthcare workers, the technical ones, like nurses, lab technicians, even doctors. So if we were to count the wage bill, it will arrive at around 70 plus. But that one is hidden somewhere. Through the chair, our MCA from Mukutania, hepatitis B you mentioned. Hepatitis B is an infectious disease. An infectious disease, some of them you only need to prevent by vaccination. And their vaccination, they are vaccines for hepatitis B. And they are given free of charge because we are supplied by the Global Fund. It is only that you need to request. Like in Nakuru County, at least we vaccinated all healthcare workers with hepatitis B. Cancer, it's true, it's on the rise. And it is among our 6 health objectives We call them policy objectives, 6 of them. We call them NCDs. And what we are doing, we want to halt and reverse the rise in cases of NCDs. Cancer being one of them, hypertension, diabetes. And we have high-impact interventions to deal with cancer. I don't think you've gone very far. Like Nakuru County, we have screening, routine screening of cervical cancer, which is a major killer in women in this country. Prostate cancer. And we've opened a cancer center in Nakuru. It is very well advanced. Until recently, we even have a radiotherapy unit. So cancer can be treated like cervical cancer. It will be curable in some few years to come. Because how you treat cancer, you have drugs, we call them chemotherapy. We have surgery, and we have radiotherapy. In Baringo County, we can start by a chemotherapy center. And then for those who needs irradiation, can be booked in Nakuru. We can start in 2 sub-counties, like KABARNET and Eldama Ravine. And there are also cancers like cervical cancer that are routinely screened, and we should make them routine. There is also a vaccine that has been integrated into the National Immunization Program for young girls called HPV, human papilloma virus that can cause cervical cancer. That we are doing a lot of sensitization, we are doing a lot of campaign, and we're also doing vaccination. We can start, and there are cancers that have not advanced. We have equipments that can treat cancer at the early stages, especially for cervical cancer. And those equipments in Nakuru we have in all our health centers, which are around 34, and all the major hospitals. And there are donors who are ready also to donate those equipments with the reagents. And they are within us. If they know there is a friendly CEC will come to Baringo, they might follow me. As I said earlier, through the chair, Her Excellency from Kuchani, about the relevance of my position, I think I explained earlier, I'm a medic by profession, and I understand the system well. So I think I'll be relevant in that position. I know where to press the button. Asante.
Thank you, Dr. Let me take 2 sets of questions from Honorable Ernest Kibet, MCA KABARNET Ward, and Honorable Josephat Lokorio, MCA Barwesa Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. welcome. Dr. I know you've had the privilege to work in Nakuru County, but you are the son of the soil. We can equally say that you've had the privilege to also be peeping to see what's happening in Baringo, and especially when you are given when the governor saw it that you get nominated. Can you tell us, because you must have had a sneak preview of what's happening in Baringo, because we expect you to work from day one. So I am imagining that you already have seen. So my question would be, describe some of the tools of intervention that have been developed to enhance health service in Baringo County. What you've seen that is in existence for now. Another question, you are a product of a political situation. I am the majority whip, UDA party. And that is the Kenya Kwanza coalition. And we have a manifesto. Your governor who nominated you has his own manifesto. And it is all in line with the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. How do you intend to apply them in order to improve health services in Baringo? How will you bring to life our manifesto as far as health is concerned? The third question, how will you align the national government policies on health with the county health goals within the legal framework? Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Sirma.
Yes, sir.
You are ready to take my questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Now, before the questions, I have two concerns that we've just raised and I was impressed. Number one, that would be very good to share with this committee is an aspect that you mentioned of automated services. I don't know how you would really initiate this program so that we will be able to have drugs in health facilities on time and dispense them on time and minimize this culture where madaktari steals drugs. And number two, you mentioned something on drawing rights. How practical are you imagining that it would work in Baringo? Now, I just know that then my questions are, Daktari. There's been a lot of challenges, and I'm speaking to you as the Chair Health Committee. We have experienced a lot of challenges in Baringo that requires some rapid measures so that we mitigate. What do you think we can do? As simple as that. What mitigation measures can you help the people of Baringo handle these challenges relating to health for a long time in Baringo? And number two, there has been a lot of referrals in Baringo County. I don't know whether you experienced the same in Nakuru. Tell us how you would go ahead and minimize the referrals so that we're able to save our people from such kind of referrals. My last question, Dr. There was a COVID-19 pandemic in the recent past in Baringo and Kenya and in the world. How do you intend to deal with such calamities going forward? Vis-a-vis the prudent management of allocated funds in Baringo County. Thank you, Chair.
Dr. You may answer those questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, through the Chair, for the question asked by Honorable Member from KABARNET, of which he was asking me mainly about the challenges of Baringo County in terms of health, whether I've seen them. Yeah, I may not know all of them, but what I know about the challenges is more of service delivery. There are referrals. There is a problem in management of ambulance services in this county, because I remember I was somewhere in Aiwet and there was an ambulance that was going to Nakuru and is stalled on the way because of lack of fuel. So there should be good management in terms of the ambulance's fleet, of which an important department like health should have its own transport officer to take care of servicing and fueling and repairs of the ambulances. Another challenge that I saw was about the structure of the governance of the health sector, of which I had mentioned earlier on, where we have the Cecm team members, the county health management team, and the programs officers, and those who are in charge of the sub-counties, because I'm told some of them don't have the relevant qualification, or they kind of try and supervise people who are more senior than them, which I think it does not go well with the healthcare workers. The other one, if I may remember, was about the manifesto, the governor's manifesto. I've read it, and he wants to increase the number of level 4s and equip them in order to give quality services at the highest attainable service of health in this county. We also need to do trainings for healthcare workers, of which we can do training in 2 ways. We can do something called on-job training, or we have regular continuous medical education, and that must be a must in all facilities to update them on the current situation of management of health conditions in this county. The other one, if I got it well, about aligning the national and the county legal framework. As you know, the national government does policies. They set standards and they give guidelines. That is their role. At the county level, we do the implementation. But the most unfortunate thing is that we do more functions, but it is not followed by resources. So we are still lobbying at the COG if resources can follow functions. And it is at certain level. Unless I didn't get, maybe, that is what I picked from your question, Honorable Sir, through the chair. The honorable member from Saimo, Barwesa. What I can say, automation, we have already started, like in Nakuru. We have 7 facilities where we've done automation, called EMR, electronic medical records. We have done automation for revenue collection, and to a small extent for dispensing of drugs. Where I can say we have really succeeded is automation of revenue in the level 4 hospital. I can promise you their revenue is cashless. You don't give out money. You send money direct to the bank. Na mkutane huko kwa benki. That is how we have avoided these pilferages or stealing of money. So, and they bank 100%. You collect 100 shillings, you will find 100 shillings in the bank. That is where we have succeeded. It is cashless. There was the issue you also mentioned about the drawing right. The drawing rights actually means it is the cash, it's the money. That is the drugs that we are sending to an A facility is 2 million. To B facility is 3 million. Those are the drawing rights, depending, as I had said, about the workload of that facility. You mentioned about mitigation.
Maybe through Chair, Dr. The automation that I was talking about is not necessarily the revenue itself only. But I'm looking at how would you ensure that drugs that come to the Baringo County, Riverol Hospital, for example, which is a dispensary at Koloa, and that officer receiving a pharmacist or a nurse would be able to receive, say, 10 packets of Panadol. And that officer would be able to account through dispensing. Do you have an idea that we can initiate such kind of thought here in Baringo so that we are able to gap that serious problem of stealing? And on drawing rights, I am sharing with you because I have some experience from here. That a nurse in Chemura, for example, dispensary, orders for drugs worth, say, 1 million. But at the county level, where these drugs are now given back to the nurse, they are given 100,000. Now, how are you going to handle this? Because this has been the headache in the county.
Okay, let me explain to you. When we are distributing drugs to a facility, there's usually a committee called the Receiving and Acceptance Committee, and they should not be less than 2 people. They should be 3 people. And there's something they sign that they've received. And then you see what Baringo, they've been having a problem about supervision. I don't know the last time they did supervision in health facilities. You know, we have the sub-county health management team who are supposed to do supervision on a monthly basis in all their facilities and give us a report. That is about everything: the number of patients that were seen, the drugs that were dispensed, if there will be any death. There are monthly reports. I'm sure you know about that. And which was the other one? I wanted to answer it. Sorry. I think it has gone out of my mind.
No, they were just automation, if you can introduce going forward.
Okay, okay. No, now, the issue of automation about drugs, there is an infrastructure for it, and there are different companies. And I've had an experience of getting quotations in Nakuru County. It's not cheap. They are quoting me not less than 300 million. To put up an infrastructure for automation for dispensing only drugs. So that's why we are doing it in phases in Nakuru County. We can still do it here by the major level 4 hospital, the sub-counties. You can start with KABARNET and Ravine, for example. and we go in phases. About the mitigation measures you talked about, it is a matter of understanding where challenges is by looking at the 6 pillars that I had mentioned earlier to identify where is that problem is so that you can solve it. Where is the problem in human resource, health financing, health products and technology, governance and leadership, so that we can address each thematic area and see how we can improve of where they are not doing well. Referrals, you mentioned about the referrals. You know, Baringo County have not adopted something called a referral strategy, where you need to move patients and the reasons why. Because unless otherwise, you are supposed, when you are referring a patient, you're supposed to call the facility that you are referring to, whether they'll accept it or not. Simple things like cesarean section should never be referred from this county. Things like blood transfusion, you should not be referred to another facility for transfusion. Because I know those are the major referrals that has been happening. Because you see, a level 4 hospital, at any one given time, should have a minimum of 10 pints of blood at any given time, and that is a must. For KABARNET, should have around 20. I know there's been a challenge in terms of blood, but something is being done. What we did, we went a step ahead in Nakuru County. We facilitated blood campaigns for our facilities using the regional blood transfusion centers, and I'm sure they also serve here. You just buy them fuel and lunch. You collect the blood, but it is screened and the regional transfusion centers. We can either take it to Nakuru or Eldoret. If there are 20 pints, of course, some might, of course, not all of them will be okay. Some will be contaminated. But if 15 are good, we'll bring back the 15 to our county and distribute them within the facilities. Unless it's a major operation, then that can be handled in that facility. Then we can accept referrals. And then also, we need to redistribute the specialists that are here, because there is no need of putting a gynecologist in Chemalingot and he's alone. In case of emergency, he will not be able to handle because there is no blood. We'll rather refer that patient to either Marigat or KABARNET using an ambulance. And another issue, what we did in Nakuru County is about the medical officers. At the sub-county level, we appointed people called sub-county team leads who are not doctors. Doctors should go to the hospitals and operate on patients and do the ward rounds. Si kutembea kwa dispensaries and health centers, they are not assisting. It would be rather a nurse or a clinical officer. They'll be useful at that level. I've mentioned, you mentioned about the COVID. COVID was an infectious disease, just like even cholera. So what we do there, we do something called contingency plan. How do you handle an outbreak like that? You do a contingency plan where you form committees committees of coordination and leadership. You form a committee of case management. You isolate, you create an isolation center. You have to sit down and do a budget for lab reagents, for drugs, for fluids, and of course, the issue of prevention and promotion, where we'll have the surveillance, we'll have the epidemiologist, we have the lab, we have the CHVs, which are very key in this area, at the community level, to do sensitization, to distribute posters and brochures to the community, to see how they can prevent themselves. Because the aim actually is to avoid spread of this disease and the deaths that may cause. Those are the contingency measures that needs to be put in place. And of course, you mentioned about the funding. Of course, there will be a budget for that. And there should be a committee who are in charge of funding, because everything is budgeted for. And we should also have regular meetings to review the budget. What was bought and where did it go? And are they of good quality? Some people may even supply here. So that committee will need to answer that. And another thing that I think Baringo never did, which was very, very important, was to put up an oxygen plant. Because during COVID, oxygen was actually a very big essential drug. And it was not going to be used only during COVID times. It will be used for other patients, like premature babies, like in theaters, like in ICUs, you need oxygen. Instead of buying, because the oxygen plant just harvests oxygen from the air at no cost. It's only the plant, and we are well to go. Thank you.
Maybe last one, Chair. Dr. Baringo people are following you live. Maybe it would be very nice if you can share with us the number of health facilities that are in Baringo. And maybe you can put them in categories of dispensaries, health centers, sub-county hospitals, or those levels. Kindly.
I got a brief. The community units in Baringo, they might not be active, but functional, they are around 170, but they need around 180. The dispensaries, I know of 180, but somebody told me they are around 200 because there are 35 that are not operational currently. The health centers are around 30-something. And then the real level 4, where I can call them high volume, are only 2. The rest are low volume, and they actually even don't qualify to be called level 4. That is Marigat, Mogotio, and Chemalingot. They don't qualify. They need to be upgraded to be real level 4.
Thank you, Jay.
Daktari, your last comment has shocked me in the sense that we have always thought for a long time that we have 6 level 4 hospitals in Baringo, and I'm shocked and I'm also happy because we have a person who has diagnosed the problem and is now going to provide the solution. Baringo will be watching you and will be looking up to you to provide a solution. That we have a referral hospital, which has been said to be not only a referral hospital, but it's also referring patients again. We have a referral hospital referring patients. Most of the time, it's like all it does is receive the patient, then refer the patient to another hospital. And I'm happy that you have been able to analyze the issue and said most of those cases are cesarean section and those who require blood transfusion. And you have given us a solution for the same. Doctor, a challenge to you now is this committee here will be watching you. They'll be following you, and the chair of health, Honorable Lokorio, will be following your case closely. And as such, we would like you to commit yourself before this committee that at the end of these 4 years or at the end of these 5 years, we should be having the 6 functional level 4 hospitals in Baringo, and you also ensure that there are 5 dispensaries that are not functional, either closed or they are meant to be operational. And so that I don't take my time, let me give to Honorable Mailuk to ask. And that should be the final question, unless there are members who have.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Dr. Sirma, concerning the question that, the issue that the Chair has raised concerning the dispensaries that currently that are not operational currently. Let's say that this committee approves your nomination to be the CEC of Health Services. How will you work to ensure that these non-operational dispensaries are operational within the shortest time possible? Then again, Dr. Sirma, you have worked in Nakuru County, and automatically you have been in contact with the County Assembly of Nakuru. The County Assembly has a mandate of oversight, representation, and legislation. Take an example that you have been summoned by the Committee of Health Services of County Assembly of Baringo to respond to questions on impact of drought and famine on the children, on the health of children in Equichatis area, that is in Tiati sub-county. You have 3 minutes to respond, 2 minutes to prepare, 3 minutes to respond, and 2 minutes for questions and answers. That's practical. You are being summoned, and this is the Committee of Health Services, concerning the drought and famine, the effect of drought and famine on the health of children in Equichatis. Kindly take the stage and respond to the Committee of Health Services. Thank you.
Then I'll start with that one, about the impact of drought. As we know, Baringo is among the 23 ESL counties that has been affected by the drought. Of course, it's a very serious issue, and it has a lot of impact in terms of health, because the scarcity of water, the scarcity of food, the scarcity of water, there are a lot of waterborne diseases. So we need to move very fast to see that we have adequate water, because children will be affected. The issue of food is also very crucial, because what we'll expect that from the drought we'll have lack of food, will be malnutrition. And once a child is malnourished, is prone to all kinds of infections, because the immunity goes low in most cases. So we should work very fast with the Department of Agriculture, the donors, to assist us in the supply of foods, and of course to work with the Department of Water in terms of water provisions, and of course edible water, not just any water, because this is a multitask issue. it will not only be health. We need to collaborate with all the relevant departments. That is water, agriculture, Ministry of Education, and so forth. Going back to the non-operationalized 35 facilities, it has not only happened in Nakuru County. We have the same number also in Nakuru County. And the challenge is the cost of operationalization of these facilities. You know, there is a cost of operationalizing a dispensary. We need an healthcare worker. We need drugs. We need money for operation and maintenance. And what is happening now is the NIDA has been assisting us for only the gazetted facilities. That is where they send the money. So it will be up to the county to allocate some more monies. And I hope I'll not be offending anybody, because there was a study that was done by a consortium, both Nakuru and Baringo, and they said we don't require any additional health facilities. We expand what we have and we renovate, because we've made the threshold, the WHO threshold of a facility within every 5 kilometers. We have achieved that. Eh? Yeah, that is a report we got.
Honorable Mailuk and Honorable Olkisoi, you kindly, you respond through the chair. Honorable Mailuk, Honorable Sirma, sorry, Dr. Sirma,
yes, sir.
You're protected, proceed.
So that is what the recommendation we had been given some times back. I think it's around 4 years ago. But as I've told you, there is a cost of operationalization of those facilities. If the funding is there, it can be even operationalized tomorrow. We'll need, as I've told you, healthcare workers to work there. We need money for operation and maintenance, and we need allocation of drugs. Then we'll be happy to go. That is only what has been hindering. And Honorable Lawi had mentioned about the wage bill eating above the ceiling. We should also take into consideration that. Thank you.
Honorable Olkiso and Honorable Mailuk, once the nominee will be through with this session, I would request that you can share one table, take tea or coffee, then you share your experiences about the same. I can see we have three. Let's start with Honorable Kimosop, then we go to Honorable Lawi, then Honorable Sialo. Those should be the last.
I think, Daktari, I share the feelings, the outbursts that was seen from Lolkesoy and Mailuk. And I think I would still want to get good clarification on this report. Whose report was this report that came out? Because maybe for your knowledge, as you come to serve Baringo, if you go through, some of us come from very fast, extremely fast wards. New settlement scheme in my case, which still require a lot of development. And so such reports should not be backed on stopping further construction, but there should be a formula on population, a formula on distance as you put it, and a formula on practically on the patients and the patient rate in a particular facility. But I think it's important so that, because you know this is an interview on record, unanswered, and it's always good to clarify that if there's such a report, it's good to know where it came from, and somehow it also receives the reservations that we have about it.
Honorable Kipruto Kimosop, you'll also join that table. Doctor, you will just you'll just inform the member what's the kind of report, and when you'll be taking the two together, you'll be able to answer the details of the question of the report. Honorable Lawi.
Thank you, Speaker. Dr. Sirma, having served as a CEO, Health Nakuru, you must have interacted with the budget. And you've seen how money has always been slashed from the source. Money meant for the hire of equipment. To a tune in Baringo have been slashed about, we have been giving out to national government around 90 million to 170 million. And actually, when you scrutinize these referrals, most of them are due to the equipment we lack in some facilities. Like for Avin, most of the time we lack CT scan, and that's why at times people are being referred to Eldoret, to Nakuru, to KABARNET. So what is your thinking on this money used for hire of equipment? Secondly, you've told us that you studied in Italy, and I wish you would have talked to this meeting using Italian language. But since you don't understand, what can you, given that chance as the CC Health, Baringo, will you even still have a chance to go there with a relationship, having studied there and lobby for equipment to this county of ours, Baringo, even if it means the second-hand equipment? Thank you very much.
Honorable Sialo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Sirma, I've heard you mention so many challenges facing our health sector in Baringo and in the country at large. Now here in Baringo, there's this CBA that you guys have it with the government. And most of our medical officers, as we speak, are on study leave. And from our experience here, when some of them come back from the study, after finishing that probation period, they leave working for Baringo County and look for a greener pasture elsewhere. And as such, we have a few number of officers working for government as a result of that. So how will you handle that issue? Number two, there is also this misconduct by medical officers. You will find most of them have the private clinics within the county. And at times, instead of being in the hospital, county hospital, referral hospital, offering services, they abscond duty to attend to their own patients at their own private facilities. And or even look for locums elsewhere, like in Eldoret, while they are supposed to be in service. So I would want to know how you will address such challenges. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I just want to share with him, Dr.
Yes.
I want to find out if nominated or approved for this nomination. We have a lot of directorates in the hospital, in our facilities. I mean, at the county level, some medical staff have redesigned some duties and redesignated themselves to be titles that are not existing. How long, maybe you can share with us, how long you would take to transfer all these people and put them in wards and theaters and all those things? And because that is a very serious matter, I know we will share with you later. And number two, is actually, let me share with you that one. Thank you, Chair. At personal, maybe that's it. It's about these MOs. And specialists. How possible would it be that we have routine kind of visits by these doctors in those small units down there, Akwijatis, Makutani, specialists to visit Wananchi and listen to them to reduce referrals? How possible would that be? Yeah.
Okay.
Daktari, proceed and answer.
Thank you. Honorable member from Mochongoi. This report, what was this report that was being headed by Nyachai just after devolution? That is the committee. I don't know what it was called.
Chairman, so you were referring to a national kind of a discussion?
Yes.
Not specifically Baringo?
No, it was national.
Oh, that was, you scared us.
No.
No, that's okay. If we are talking of
those few, the
national,
other counties also.
Yeah, no problem.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought there was a report specifically on Baringo.
It was the whole country. It was a recommendation for the whole country. Okay, the other one was about, I think I'm through the chair. Now I come to Honorable Lawi. I know there was something called MES, Medical Equipment Services, where equipments were bought for at least two facilities per county in the whole republic, and some they had a third one. And I know there was no consultation. There was an MOU signed. It was, I don't want to mention a word. And according to my experience, we also had the same. But I should say that this undertaking was very expensive. Although there was backup systems in terms of servicing, but it was very expensive. Imagine like in Nakuru County, before the money reaches the county, 200 million had been already cut. Because if we could have used, because this program went for 7 years, what would we have done with 1.4 billion in 7 years? We would have done a lot. We'd have bought even other equipment for other facilities because they were targeting only two facilities. If we had 1.4 billion, I'm sure we'd have equipped more than 10 health facilities. We didn't get value for our money. That is my comment. From where I said in my undergraduate, I think lobbying for assistance will still be possible. There are so many volunteers who want to come, but they only need a contact person. They can even put up a theater, and they can do what we are doing here called outreaches. When they are on their holidays, the complex cases, they can come and operate free of charge. That one, I know it will be possible. Honorable Sialo from Mogotio. The study leave, it is a problem for all counties. Because I saw here in Baringo you have 76 medical officers on study leave, and you are paying their salaries. In Nakuru County we have 56. We are paying their salaries, and they are not working for us. So we had an engagement with national government that they take over the training of these medical officers. We had reached a stage. They take over the 76, and the salaries for 76, we can engage other medical officers. And the way to go, I think we'll need to go the contractual way. You know, once somebody is on contract, you can't release him to go to school. We can promise we can do contracts for 3 years, and then after that, we can see whether we can take them P&P, or they can decide where to go. And we found that those who are on contracts are more proactive than those ones who are on P&P. Because P&P on Najua, they will run to their unions. So it's a bit difficult to handle them. And actually, I think this will be the way to go in future all over. Like other advanced countries like the US, in Europe, you work on contract. You sign a contract for 5 years. If they'll renew for you, well and good. If no, you look for a job elsewhere, for another contract. And this is what we had proposed. This is the way to go in future. You mentioned about doctors working in private clinics, doing locums. It boils down to supervision. Because there should be a duty rota for every doctor. And the hospital needs to be covered 24 hours. There is no excuse. And there is something called landing over. When this doctor leaves, he doesn't leave until the one who is coming to take off from him comes and signs in. We might be forced even to do the logging in hospitals. Yes. We might go that way, although it's not so friendly, but we might be forced to do that. And about the specialists, there are guidelines on how they need to work. But nobody's following the guidelines. And I have it with me. There are the number of ward rounds that they should do per week. There are the number of surgery cases that they should do in a week. And they should cover the hospital whenever there is an emergency. It doesn't matter where you are. That is the policy. That is the policy before devolution. And we are still adhering to it. That is my take. Chair of Health, about the directorates, as I've told you, we have to do an organogram, a rational one, because we don't want to have officers who are sitting in offices without doing anything. There are some programs even you can merge into one, 2 programs into one, and it can be taken care of by one officer. As the chairman of health, something like reproductive health and sexual-based violence can be taken care of by one person. The person who has studied child health can still take care of clinical officers and child health at the same time. We can do rationalization, and I think that will require a maximum of 3 months. And that thing will have been sorted out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. for your time. We'll give you 3 minutes to do a wrap-up. But before that, whenever you go to any hospital, be it a private hospital or a public hospital, at the entrance you will find a board written doctor on duty, nurse on duty, officer or specialist on call. For a long time I didn't ask myself what was the role of those things until I participated in a case of medical negligence before the board. And I realized that those things have a meaning. However, in Baringo County, we seem not to understand the meaning of those things because we have lost so many patients through negligence. Yet when you come to the hospital, you'll find there's a medical officer on duty. Yet when there's an emergency, the medical officer cannot be available. The specialist on call is not available. Yet we expect that if you are on call, you are supposed to stop everything else and be within the facility of the hospital. If not possible, the hospital to provide a house for these officers who are on call or on duty, so that whenever they are called, they should be available within 2 or 5 minutes. There's something about in the medical field, in terms of response time, that if you are on call, you should be available within a certain duration. I would want to call upon you. You are a new broom coming to Baringo County. Kindly enforce the standards. As you have said, there are standards for specialists, there are standards expected of a medical officer, there are standards expected of a clinical officer, standards expected of a nurse, and of all medical workers, so that we don't lose patients due to negligence. Because in the near future, a lot of litigation will be on medical negligence. And we don't want the county to lose money because of medical negligence caused by an officer. And the only way we can prevent that is if you, as the new broom, ensure that our officers, our health workers are there to what's required of them. That's a challenge to you. Secondly, when Honorable Lau asks you whether you can teach these members, you know, each and every day is a learning experience. I expect you, before you leave, tell these members that I also know Chinese, I also know Italian. Tell them ciao and adios. And a few other Italian words, so that you can be able to influence them. One day or two, they learn a new word, because every day is a learning experience. In making your closing remarks, you can tell us one or two words so that they can, you will give them something new to take home this evening.
Thank you, Chair. I think I've heard your sentiments, and for your information, honorable members, in future, counties will not be able to cover anybody for negligence, because the way we are going, everybody before is employed should have a medical indemnity that can cover you in case of any negligence or a patient dies. But before, it used to be covered by the government, but we can't afford anymore to go that way. That is coming very soon, so I'm sure people will be more careful. And unfortunately, also one thing that is not happening in Baringo County are what are called mortality meetings on a monthly mortality meetings for all patients, be a child, be a mother, be a man. We know the cause. Was it due to negligence? Was it a natural death? Was it avoidable death? Was it inevitable? That one now, that I'll introduce it in our performance contract that we have to sign with all the departments, all the health workers in the department. We have to introduce a performance contract and give everybody indicators that if immunization have been 60, we want it to be 70. If maternal deaths have been 200, we need them to reduce to 150. That is the only way we can work with our performance contract to improve healthcare services. Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you, Daktari. And as you have told the members, ciao. Also, tell me ciao and have a nice evening. You will get the documents.
Okay. For my closing remarks, I want to thank all members of this appointment committee. You have been very kind to me. Nilikuwa hata natetemeka. But I'm now calm. And I'll be happy to be associated with my mother county, Baringo County. I have a passion to take health in this county to another level, even without pay, because I'm here, I've decided to come and give back to the community. So I'll give the best. I'm not looking at the salary. I've not done anything for my village, but I'll be happy to do something for this great county of Baringo County if I'm given an opportunity to serve, if my approval passes. I'll be very happy to work with you, both at the county assembly and also at the executive level. So I want to thank you very much, and we'll walk the same journey. Thank you.
Best. This committee will retreat and write a report, and we wish you the best. If you will be successful, you'll be working closely with members of this committee, and we expect prompt reports, and we expect you to live up to the expectations and what you have told us this day. This day will be remembered by these members, and whenever we shall meet, that's if you are successful, we shall be reminding you of what you told us today and in our future engagements. Otherwise, have a good evening and enjoy the rest of the day. You may leave, Doctor.